Hey folks, how you all doing? This is Con over coming to you with another episode of Company of Heroes 2. In this particular game on Kpen97, we definitely do see again Kpen97 in the blue trunks. So Kpen97, welcome back to the channel. Pulling the forces of the OKW, and in the west we do see the forces of CadzZ in the red trunks. Let's call him Cad for the moment. He's playing the United States forces, and you are going to see very, very early on both guys going out for that standard kind of opening, just kind of shifting immediately for the strategic point and going for the early build you kind of all expect and love. Cad's going for the double rifleman, probably into, if I were to guess, maybe even a third rifleman. But Kpen, what does he bring along for commanders in the meantime? He is bringing in Luftwaffe Ground Forces Doctrine with the Fallschirmjäger, the Airborne Assaults, Special Operations Doctrine, and Fortifications Doctrine. I'm not a big fan of this particular build path, mostly because I think it's very, very underpowered. And as great as the tank traps can be and emplacements and all that kind of stuff like that, I don't think it's worth it. CadzZ, in the meantime, has decided to go immediately for heavy cav company. He's got the Rangers as well as that Pershing tank. He's looking maybe to stall out until that late game. But that might not happen. I've seen Kpen sometimes be very, very aggressive, but then again, CadzZ himself has been known to be very resilient when he has to be. Both guys kind of moving out, kind of very standard openings. Double rifleman has not yet happened into a third one. Maybe we're waiting to see what the Germans are bringing up to the fray. And I was actually correct in something very much recently. These Sturmpires are actually carrying STG-44s, so giving a little more firepower than even I kind of figured they had. Kpen going for a late Kubelwagen, kind of surprising actually on that one. Usually you see a Kubelwagen coming much sooner than a second squad of Volksgrens, because it gives you just so much more mobility on the map. It allows you to cap and decap much more frustratingly, let's say. Rear echelons, though, going to get caught out by these Volksgrens. They're going to fall back in good order, not really retreating hard just yet, kind of a soft retreat, but it's like playing tag with grenades. Eventually, if you stay around long enough, you're going to get hurt. And they are going to start to drop their models right now, so these Volksgrens are coming up right next to them, just kind of like, hey, just kind of saying hello with their weapons. They are going to start taking firepower from these riflemen down over here to the south, but at the same time, they have successfully forced them away from this fuel point. That's really all the Germans really wanted to do, is to really, really severely impact American fuel income. Unfortunately for them, their own particular fuel is actually kind of cut off by quite a bit. Unless this Kubelwagen himself might even go down in just a second. It's not the most durable of materials, and frankly, yep, there it goes. So Kpen making a very early loss right about now, kind of a clumsy one to be fair. But these rear echelons, in the meantime, from CadzZ are actually going to take a fair amount of firepower as well. So while these Volksgrens are going to force back, the Sturmpires are going to be able to cover for all retreating German forces. Whew. Well, where are we in the meantime? So we are going to see the Volksgrens are going to take back the strategic point over here to the south. These riflemen are going to get forced back simply by dint of numbers, it looks like, and the fact that the cover to the south of the strategic point does not really favor an attacker. But if nothing else, he's taking that frustrating fuel cap right about now, and if he does that, that's going to delay the Germans by quite a bit. Germans are going to call in their first SWS. He's not successfully taken out that strategic point just yet, and now we go. And what we are going to see is probably a battle group headquarters coming out to heal up that infantry, and probably even pick in an ISG might be a good idea to kind of force away some of the early American dominance, it seems, on the map. Riflemen, though, in the meantime, are continuing to hang tough with these Volksgrens. I'm not sure if it's a great idea right now. Behind green cover, both of them are, and a second squad's coming in. So look to see those Americans be forced into a very, very swift retreat. Dropping a model, there goes another one. Germans do lose one in the meantime, but that's not going to be a big, big loss. Sturmpires, in the meantime, are holding strong around this munitions point, which I guess is rather vital for early German desires. Putting some firepower on the riflemen, not doing a whole lot necessarily from a distance, but not really taking a whole lot of firepower either. It's like, who cares? Another squad of riflemen, though, coming in from the north, looking to kind of maybe flank out these Sturmpires somehow? I don't know. I think this is an awfully poor deployment of troops right about now, because you have so much more of the map that it remains even uncapped, let alone an excellent opportunity for your opponent to kind of take positions he really shouldn't. This lower strategic point has not even been touched just yet. And that kind of boggles my mind that 5 minutes into this game, probably about a third of the map has not been touched. You can see right over in this area right here with the boxes rotating around. Rear echelons, in the meantime, are going to move over here to the eastern side. Are they going to go for a frustrating decap or just looking to take on this church? So if that's the case, yep, they take the church. I have seen recently a modification of what you usually see out of most players. The eastern player, the western player, dropping a little bit of wire actually right here to prevent any opponent from actually taking a base, taking that position. Meantime, we are going to see these rear echelons going to decap the strategic point and thereby frustrate the ever-living bejesus out of Kpen, who can no longer get fuel. Oh, and he gets out just before... Okay, he gets out just before he was going to actually take that munitions point, so that's kind of a frustrating thing as well. But I guess it's more important to see off these rear echelons. In the north, in the meantime, he is going to try to go and take out this fuel point, at least keep it capped for a couple of seconds here. STG Pyos coming in behind these riflemen. But it seems the riflemen are going to have a better part of this engagement, at least initially. Force them back to Volksgrens pretty quickly here, even though the Sturmpyos continue to kind of hold strong. They are like the linchpin around this early part of this game, it seems. Volksgrens going to force back the rear echelons. We are going to see, like you saw a couple seconds ago, a lieutenant coming out, as well as an 81 mil mortar. And Raketten's being called in by Kpen. A little bit curious to see that. I understand having the idea of having an early anti-tank presence on the field, but it'd be very, very quick for CadzZ to have any kind of legitimate armored presence. Sturmpyos, in the meantime, are going to start engaging with this lieutenant. Kpen to see whether or not he actually decides to continue building that Raketten, that he's not going to need early on. And he does. He's going to come out as well. So the Sturmpyos, in the meantime, are going to get forced back by that BAR lieutenant. And frustratingly enough, there's actually now Americans down here who are going to be very, very cheeky and putting a mine right behind the sandbags. And that's going to be quite a rude surprise for the Germans whenever they should eventually come back into the area. Might see a rifleman squad go down by a couple of lucky bursts. No, instead we are going to see them backed away. The Sturmpyos kind of back them off. As a newer squad, mind you. And that frustrating 81 mil mortar has started to make its presence known. But still, neither guy is going for this position down here, and it just continues to make me confused. And with the presence of that mortar, we are going to see the Germans are going to get forced back across the map, losing the single point they had in the north. And with this rear echelon squad still holding strong, the one lone trooper playing Rambo or something like that in this bell tower. We see these Volksgrens as well going to get beaten up as well. Where the heck have they finally seen an incendiary grenade forcing them back, I'm sure. The Americans starting to bake quite a bit. The Germans are taking some hits as well, but models really not dropping just yet on the American side. No, instead actually the Germans that get forced back. But another Volksgren squad moves up, and yep, there they go. They're forced back finally. Rear echelon squad as well does get forced out of the church, and we might just see a slightly resurgent German troops. Not entirely sure. Right now it's a 2-0 cap. Again, still someone. No one's moving down to that southern part of the map. There's no love for that area, it appears. Like I said, Kpen taking an ISG might have been a better option than taking into that Rakettenwerfer. But now there's an AA half-track on the field, so there comes the reason for making that particular anti-tank weapon. You see more mines coming down with each rifleman up here to the north. Like I said, going to be some very rude awakenings. Oh, but the first one does actually get detected by the Sturmpyos over here to the south, so really no big boom, as you might have hoped. Question, I suppose, is whether or not he gets away with it up here to the north. CadzZ, that is, not Kpen. AA half-track, though, reports to the field, starts backing its way across the map, because it's just the one thing that's just confused all the time. And the BAR is not going to start exchanging fire. Pershing Commander, yes, we know the Pershing Commander. Well done. You have been able to figure that out from the fact you've seen riflemen placing mines and the like. Which is just as well that he's been able to see that, because it can be quite a rude awakening. It can very much inform his own decision about what to use in response to them. So now that he knows that that's exactly what it is, going for the fortifications or the special operations is definitely way better than going for Luftwaffe ground forces, and I'd be very, very depressed almost if he decides to go for that. He just wants to move the Sturmpyos in just to take a shot at the mine, take out the mine, instead of wasting time using a minesweeper on it. Pyos, in the meantime, coming back across these riflemen, shred these guys, forcing them away, takes out 3 models in about 30 steps. That's total, by the way. If those guys had Fitbit, it'd be like, oh, Oh, we're nowhere near 10,000 steps right now. Let's get out of here, guys, and just really starting to like really boost their numbers. We are going to see in the north that this AA half-track has forced back the Germans quite a bit. And with 415 to 500 right about now, the Germans are not in control of this map, at least not from the VP perspective. Now that he's trying to engage his own particular mines, putting down a Teller mine, a shoe mine over here to the southwest, and his own troops taking on a strategic point right here. The question is whether or not he can effectively charge and take out this lieutenant, and it looks like the immediate answer to that is he can. Shreds that lieutenant, takes out 2 models again, and where the one squad has already suffered, another one suffers immediately right after that. I see a squad's worth of troops just lying on the ground, not in a very, very comfortable position, mind you. Germans, in the meantime, are just barely in the firing arc of this AA half-track, and I'm really hoping that they don't move forward anymore, because they're going to see them get spanked rather severely. Kpen, in the meantime, though, is going to call in the SWS, and I'm kind of wondering why CadzZ hasn't teched up into his captain just yet, but I suppose once you see the fact that he's got the AA half-track in, that more than explains it, at least initially. He's also going to put a mine outside the northern side of this church, kind of not so much a unique place to put it, but at least some place that most people are not going to look first chance they get. Because, hey, why would you mind the church? That's going to be on your retreat path, too. But 395 to 500 right about now, 12 minutes in, and the map itself, it really isn't massively in one direction or the other one. Yes, the VPs are being controlled by the Americans right now, and yes, here comes an SWS, my favorite cinematic, as I say every time, watching those guys display that oh-so-studly 3-centimeter autocannon. Rangers being called in the meantime, trying to give those those kind of very beaten American forces a decisive edge in firepower, but that's not happening immediately. So we're going to see some moderately vetted up squads of Volksgrens trying to shift around to the south to put pressure on other riflemen, but in the north the AA half-track continues its at least moderate dominance. And where are those Raketenwerfers? One's in the center, one is nowhere near anything, is it? Strange. I don't know where the other Raketenwerfer is. Cannot find that. Oh well. Okay, there's one there. Oh, the other one's in this house right here. I was like, good lord, what is going on here? I'm losing my mind. 376 to 500. We are going to see that one rifleman squad has been forced back rather severely. You know, they still hold the church, and that church is still God's house. It's really much a God house on this map. These things are quite effective at holding down a lot of enemy firepower. With the Rangers moving up as well, it's not going to be too easy to be moved from that particular position. Raketenwerfers are almost useless against infantry unless it hits them dead on, and even then might be kind of worthless. Sheriff Pencil headquarters, in the meantime, is just out of range of everything, but it is in range of the strategic point, so you can kind of understand why it's being there, why it's being posted there. And here comes rotation from the gun. Any second now. Oh my gosh, is this a shot blocker right here? This is going to block. Oh my gosh. Oh, but here comes again. Here we go. And those Rangers didn't know they were there. Take some really, really savage blows, losing 50% of their effective health in less than about 5 seconds. And now that Sheriff Panzer headquarters is savaging that lieutenant to the north as well. Is he going to barely make it away? No, he doesn't. That goes down. Luckily for him, he didn't drop that BAR. That could be quite a severe loss right there. He was deploying that fuel cache. Nope, not going to tell us. That's not going to tell us. Okay, that's fine. Ay. So what do we got in the meantime? AA half-track is still out and about. Not doing a whole lot. It's kind of chilling over here, locking down the center part of the map, which has allowed the Germans in turn to take away 2 VPs and start to drain points away from the Americans for a change. How about that? So 366 to 489, they still have a ways to go. A standard grenade goes out on top of these American squad, and the STG Pios are coming in. But not a whole lot that really comes from that one, unfortunately. And that mortar continues to start firing and starts opening up again. I'm surprised the thing hasn't got 3 stars of veterancy already. It just continues to be a very, very annoying position. Rear echelons, in the meantime, though, have decided to go for a double bazooka upgrade. And with the addition of the AA half-track, those Sturm Pios are forced back rather quickly. Oh wow, for half a second I really thought that was an American troop getting shredded, but no, it's another squad of Strumpios getting shredded.
We're losing a capture point.
And here comes the aggressive squad of riflemen who are also armed with bazookas. I'm not entirely sure why, but they are. And a 50-50 map starts to fall over the entire battle space. Church does go back in favor of the Americans, which is going to be a little bit annoying, I'm sure, for the Germans should they start pushing forwards again. And in the south, these Ranger squad is going to go and start taking out this VP and start draining points again from the Germans as opposed to the Americans. Either way, the major has now been called in just now for CadzZ. And with that call in, we could very, very soon see an intermediary kind of tank. Maybe? Not quite. ISG, however, starts to assert itself on the field as well. He is plopped down right next to the Sheriff Panzer headquarters, as you might expect. And it's putting a firepower onto that church. I don't know if it's going to take it out completely or what the deal is, but we'll see. SDGs are also starting to come down on top of those Volksgrens, and with mines coming out in the middle part of the field, it should be interesting to see if Kpen decides to start investing in more minesweepers. He does have them on the one squad already, but he apparently has forgotten about them, and has really shouldn't. He does decide to go for Fortifications Doctrine, though, so he has the access to that Pack 43 and that Field Howitzer that we saw to so much effective use in a match last week. It's a vicious amount of firepower. But it's a trip cap right now for the Americans, 342 to 468. Doesn't matter that the rear echelons are coming under fire right now. If Kpen isn't a little more aggressive soon, he's going to really be frustrated by the end result. One squad of STGs does come in though and manages to put a little bit of, let's say, fire the rear echelons. Doesn't take them out though, mind you. And once again, let's take a quick map. We'll take a quick look at the strategic map in just a second here. As soon as this small tete-a-tete, let's say, between these Rangers and these Volksgrens resolves itself. Sherman's going to come out though in the meantime for CadzZ, but we are already going to see a Field Howitzer coming out. Yes, we are seeing a Field Howitzer coming out right behind the Sheriff Panzer headquarters. And how far does that range go out? I can always never remember. Yeah, it's going to reach the other side of the map. So that is a brutal force multiplier if he is able to get any kind of real firepower coming out from it. And although these riflemen have moved forward, you're going to see them forced off rather quickly. AA half-track coming in. Briquettins is exactly what Briquettins want, though.
Tank support is here. Sherman ready.
Nope, never mind. Briquettins is still out of range, isn't it? No, it's not. It's able to get a couple shots off on the AA half-track. Down in the south, we are going to see another meeting engagement between the Rangers and these Volks STGs. But despite winning some of these small engagements, Kpen is losing the war. Howitzer begins its first volley, I do believe. Salvos start launching off. Where's it going to come in?
Enemy is overrunning one of our capture points.
Home base? Yeah, firing at home base for some reason. Fortunately, he doesn't realize that that major is out in the field. He should realize it pretty quickly once he sees a Sherman tank come out. Otherwise, that would normally be a very, very effective place to put some firepower right about now. In the meantime, though, it seems like everyone's gearing up for that fight. That's going to be happening pretty quickly. But the question is really, who can take care of that AA half-track? It still needs a Panzerfauster to really take it out of commission. And with the addition now of that Sherman, it might seem like a very, very tall order, a little bit out of even impossible for the Germans to do, especially in negative cover. Are those shots still going into the deep, deep dark? No, not quite yet. 20 seconds left to another barrage. But heavy, was that max range, shell actually rate of fire? I don't recall anymore. That's okay. We're instead going to see a Panther come out for Kpen, and with that coming out, we could see, potentially, a shift in how this game is moving. which is really only all too soon, because right now, CadzZ, like I said, is really in a dominant position. Although that's not to be unexpected as of right now. Oh no, S minefields are going to be detonated by the Sherman, who's just going to wander in and does not care whatsoever. Surprisingly enough, this guy is still not seeing him. Okay, now he's finally seeing this particular tank and is going to force it away. But will these folks go down? No, they will not. They're okay. I keep checking back in on this howitzer. Come see what this guy does. Is he going to continue firing the same spot? 'Cause I don't think it's a great idea. ISG's in the meantime going to start lofting barrages down here to the south, forcing those guys away to more than enough. And unfortunately for these rear echelons, though, there's still more S-mines to be, found and exploded with their faces.
Hit him with the coax! Taking fire!
But it seems there's not much to be really worried about. Barrage in the meantime starting to come out. And again, he's just going to continue to loft shots back into base, not knowing that his opponent has a forward retreat point already up. In the meantime, though, Panther does come out into the field, has its own coax coming out, and what it currently sits on the field right now for CadzZ cannot take out a Panther very easily, especially with the support of all the Volksgrens and everything.
We just lost a unit. We're losing a capture point.
That's surprising. So this vehicle crew can actually not go back into its tank right about now. How about that? He is just barely enough to repair his tank some more, but shockingly, this thing has picked up now 6 kills. Now, I'm pretty sure there's a rear echelon that went down before, or was it a rifleman squad? I can't really tell at the moment, but I will know that it might shift the balance of power in the center of the map once more. Sturmpio is kind of getting frustrated by the fact that he can't see any targets. Panther at the same time kind of frustrated, but he doesn't really have any targets to deal with either. He's gained 0 experience, which is kind of embarrassing for a Panther Panther tank. Excuse me, guys. I currently eat my words quite a bit. He has the mine outside the church, but put some damage at least on the rangers at the same time. Another shot? Oh no, that one more shot could have actually taken out this other mine, and that could have been very, very devastating on its own. Another shot, another barrage, shots coming out. He's finally going to see the mortar, so let me guess, here comes a barrage from that? No. No, instead we are going to see the howitzer stay resolutely silent. I thought that would have been a perfect opportunity for a barrage. Yep, here we go. Now we're resetting. Here's a barrage right in the center part of the field. Maybe to even take out this house. The funny thing about this particular artillery piece, though, it fires one time and can change the entire face of the match with one round. Meantime, though, 187 to 456, the Germans are actually not losing VPs at this current second. Panther command tank does, well, excuse me, not the Panther command tank, I only continue to say that. Panther tank is still on its own. There's not a whole lot of company for it. And although that howitzer is firing off and does, takes out that house, things are still open for the American player. Wondering if Kpen's going to go for another one of those howitzers to do a double howitzer play like he did in the previous match that we saw. Could be quite interesting. Meantime, though, more rounds are coming in from the ISG as well as that howitzer. Amusingly enough, the ISG has not been able to put as many kills on as the howitzer has, and the howitzer's been on the field for half the time, I would say, that the ISG has. The Panther, in the meantime, sliding up into the north. Its AA half-track is not long for this world, I imagine. Rear armor hit, and one more shot's going to do it. And very, very gently, he taps it with a high-velocity, armor-piercing round, and that is that. It's that entire poor half-track gets brewed up in like a microsecond. SDG folks, in the meantime, getting forced back, as well as an engagement again, a meeting engagement again from the south for these riflemen All the bazookas that are on the field were excellent for the meantime, but they are going to start really being a liability as the firepower is lost against the German infantry. Rangers are going to be able to come in and chase away this particular squad of Volks. And without the Pershing on the map, we do see that that window of German dominance is severely, severely hampered with now a Sherman and a Pershing on the map. That thing's a beast. I didn't really appreciate how much a Pershing does until I found out from an associate of mine that there was been a Tiger tank that got knocked out by a Pershing with one shot. One single shot. But we're right now seeing the whole the impact of the Fleet Hund procedure, wherein you see like one particular armor fighting vehicle or squad drawing fire, so everyone else can start laying down their own version of the smackdown. And that Panther is going to get picked up pretty quickly, considering the sheer amount of aggression that's being sent its way. The question is really, is it going to be a good death or a bad death? Damaged engine now on the Sherman, but that Pershing is still there. Main gun's been destroyed as well, so I'm going to guess one more shot and that Panther's going to be all but dead. That's a bad end for a fine lady. And there it goes. So the Pershing has now come onto the field and done exactly what he needed to do. Tilt the power balance back into the American favor. And although he's taking a Panzerfauster too, it's not going to be enough really to kind of see off that Pershing. Kpen, in the meantime, is rushing forward, doing its best to really put pressure on as many of these armored vehicles as possible. Rear armor hits being thrown into that Sherman. One more Panzerfaust should be enough to do it. One more Panzerschreck, actually, for that matter, should be able to do it. As these Sturmpilots shift up, will they be able to take that shot? Rifleman squad's getting picked up by the ISG, as well as that curtain of fire from those very, very vetted up Volksgrens at this point. And that Sherman's just brewed up. So that's one victory right there.
We just lost a medium tank.
Pershing is still on the field, though, and that is not a character you want to leave in the battle space. Meantime, though, there is a bunker down here from the Germans I didn't even notice from before that is locking down this VP. Very, very lucky for him, because without that, that VP would have been gone a long time ago.
The capture point is under attack.
Meantime, we do see Volksgrens moving to the middle. This 81mm mortar is going to start lofting shots at them. Never mind, it's going to pull them back as well. So CadzZ actually down a little bit in both army supply as well as just sheer control of the battle space. We are going to see the northern VP trying to get picked up. S-mines going off like crazy. These riflemen moving up, and going to be just on the tip of it now in the beaten zone of explosions. And these Volksgrens really should not be as close as they are right now. Maybe it's just spotting for the howitzer. Is that what's going on here? Howitzer just continues to shell the base. Kind of not caring that there doesn't seem to be a whole lot over there in that particular area. Of course, if he comes in and takes out... Oh my gosh, never mind. That last shot comes in, hammers the ambulance.
Vehicle just got destroyed.
And that's now worth it. Okay, so another ammo does get called out from CadzZ, but at the same time, what's that, 30 fuel, 40 fuel? That really didn't need to be spent. Only 10? Really? That's all it is? 10 fuel? Yeesh. I don't play Americans very much, to be honest, guys. Rifle in the meantime getting pushed away. These Rangers are going to do quite a bit of damage to these Volksgrens, but that's only from a short distance. Those STGs are going to own them at slightly longer distances. And with the addition now of a second Panther to the field, that Pershing is not going to have a very good time. Especially as those Rangers say, "Oh my God, there's another Panther on the field here." So Howitzer in the meantime, falling silent for the moment. I'm kind of wondering if he's just lining up for another barrage or what the deal is. So he's got another couple seconds left on that cooldown. And surprisingly for being down, Kpen actually does have an army supply advantage. 187 to 352, we're seeing these mortar desperately trying to take back the middle part of the field with just barrages left and right, but it's not going to do a whole lot for them. Especially with this Panther being covered by both Rakettenwerfers. And that very, very brave rifleman in the center part of the field is going to get crushed pretty quickly. Pershing is lining up so that way they can start putting fire on the Panther should he need to have the opportunity to do so. The Germans might very, very briefly have a trip cap. Not entirely sure on that one. Never mind. It does go down. It's not theirs. 1-0 no. ISG continues its lofty aspirations at being an actual killer on the field. And actually doesn't have any kills now? It's got 2 kills. How about that? Panther in the meantime though kind of just laughed at all the bazookas coming its way. It's like hee hee hee, you guys are cute. And just continues to roast anything that comes near it. 30 minutes in, 187 to 330. Kpen has managed to actually solidify not an early advantage, but he's been able to kind of recoup his earlier losses. S-Mine feels as now doesn't really matter as these riflemen continue to run into and not be able to deal with that bunker in the south. That mortar is not being used to a really great idea right about now. Or the Pershing for that matter. One or the other really should be deployed to the south to take out this particular bunker. That would definitely open up the southern part of the map and allow CadzZ to really pressure Kpen to reacting to him as opposed to the other way around. Riflemen going to do their best to actually get an eye on something over here. Not going to work though. Instead we're going to see the Pershing move up to the north and explode, I'm guessing, maybe a bunch of this S minefields as soon as his troops take back some of the lost fuel. Meantime, another Sherman's going to come out for the Americans. Might be a little bit too late though. I mean, not in terms of VPs, but with the double Verketten and the very, very veteran squads right now of the Germans, the American armored vehicles are not in a great place. They are able to see off the Sturmpires from the center part of the field, but that's really all Kpen really wants, is to actually just have a decap or to have just a clear advantage in VP draining. Panther in the meantime, of course, wants to be a little bit more careful, does not charge into the fray as quickly as he could have. Mostly because that Pershing is still out there and is still lurking. But this Rifleman squad might get dropped. A full vet squad, it doesn't go down. Okay, instead we are going to see another squad come in instead to kind of back it up, force away the Volksgrens in return. And the middle part of this field is just a beaten zone, just so much death and destruction. Panther comes in, he's going to take some firepower from that Pershing pretty quickly. And then Howitzer continues to fire back at the home base area. Panther and the Verketten both start lofting shots at the Pershing, and once again, this another Rifleman squad might go down, and if this one goes down, this is a very, very good BAR. Nope, never mind, it survives. So surprisingly enough, all that American stuff hangs on by a thread. I mean literally by a thread. Those guys really should be dead right about now. Sherman in the meantime going to take some firepower from this Panther, kind of understandably when you think about it. Kind of way too far up for his own good. Kpen clawing his way back into this game slowly, and you kind of wonder if is it going to be one of those knockout punches where the Americans take severe losses out of nowhere. I don't know. I really don't know. What I am going to see is that zeroing artillery is being called in. Yeah, that's what I thought. Zeroing artillery is going to start hammering everything in the area, but if he actually gets any kind of vision on the area, it'd be even more so. As one of Rifleman squad's blundering right into it. Those poor, poor bastards. And taking ISG shots and everything. Okay, so right now doing a lot less than I really thought it was going to, but it has allowed the Germans to take a 2-to-1 cap advantage again. I guess it's because there's not a whole lot of really any enemy presence in that part of the field. You want to look at veterancy though, good gosh, Kpen is just swimming in it now. He's got 2 fully vetted squads, 2 mostly fully vetted squads, and another Sturmpire squad that is respectably in the area. His Howitzer has got 2-star veterancy, his ISG even has 2-star veterancy. The only guys who really don't have veterancy right now is just one single rinky-dink Verkettenwerfer. And that's frankly because that guy's been beaten up so much and hasn't really got any kind of attempt, any kind of opportunity really to demonstrate his battle prowess. Meantime though, there's a lot of STGs coming down here to the south. Expect to see this Rifleman squad just melt. 2 guys left. Very quickly going to be 1 guy. There's a bazooka on the ground to get picked up, and there he goes. There goes a 3-star Rifleman squad. And that's stuff you cannot do. The CadzZ cannot send out 1 infantry squad by himself right now. This Verkettenwerfer might get picked up by this BAR. SCGs moving in to kind of try to support it might be enough as well. But this is the proper time. He has correctly identified this as a proper time to move his Pershing in to try to take out that very, very marauding Panther. Unluckily for him, it doesn't actually finish the job. "35 minutes in, grenade packages are finally done for the Americans, which means that those tanks are now should be much more concerned about how things look. Whenever, well, tries again, not be much more concerned about really moving closer, let's say, to the enemy positions. But CadzZ is actually taking the middle VP.
Rear echelon squad ready for action.
Not that he's actually dropped any squads of Kpens in any recent memory, but he's got a 2-to-1 cap now in his advantage. He hasn't had that in probably about 10-15 minutes right about now. Howitzer in the meantime, very, very quiet, continuing to loft shots back again at the home base. And you have to wonder if you notice again that at this point he really should be modifying where those targets are going, even just to keep his opponent off balance by firing here or then firing there, to kind of firing all over the place instead of just at the headquarters position. Germans are managing to take themselves another munitions point again, sliding back in over here, making some fighting emplacements for themselves. It might be enough for them to actually see off. Nope, both sides decide to just exchange grenades. And right now, with the health levels that they are, actually it's coming down to a much closer fight than I anticipated. Both squads are forced back just by the sheer resistance from the other side.
We just lost a unit.
Unfortunately for them, they did blunder themselves right back into an S minefield, and there goes another fully vetted up squad of riflemen. Taking a quick look at this fight going on over here, the Pershing is desperately trying to assert itself, but it's not going to happen too easily with all that AT on the field. But it's not going to stop CadzZ. Excuse me, guys, there for a missed camera for a moment for a second. It's not going to stop CadzZ. He's got both of his armored vehicles in the center part of this map, desperately looking for an opportunity to really engage. But right now, this dual Raketens are definitely proving their weight in gold, platinum, whatever precious mineral you want to talk about right now. And with these Sturmpires moving forward, we're actually going to have range being given to the Raketen on that Sherman. So at least one more shot going out. There we go. Forcing him back for quite a bit of time. Panther coming back in as well, so you can see a battle of the Leviathans on this field. Yikes, and that Panther just savages the Pershing with its first shot. And without that mortar, this center part of the field would not be in American hands right now. I guarantee you that, folks. Three fully vetted squads. Even the Raketens now have stars of veterancy. The Panthers got stars of veterancy. I wonder if there's any way. It's probably too expensive, I think, at this point with the Pak 43. I think there's any way that Kpen could actually get a Pak 43 out to the map. But no, instead we're actually going to see a decap, at least for the Germans. They do manage to decap the middle part of the map, which is more than enough for them at this current time. What they really need to do is find where that mortar is, and I think finally we are going to yowza! And that howitzer just took out the mortar, and that is the sign right there to engage. There is no covering fire anymore for the American troops, and that might be the sign to go for the aggression. Pershing's going to come back in to try to stem the bleeding. Volksgrens are trying to force back and take the middle part of the map, and the northern part is going to go back to the Germans in just a second here. Panther moving in. The Sherman is going to sit there to kind of like frustrate things for a little bit of time. But I don't know if that's going to be enough. Pershing's going to actually get a couple of rear shots over here. Might be kind of devastating if he actually manages to hit his counterpart. And oh my gosh, this Pershing just blundered into a death trap. That guy's almost certainly going to go down. He buys it. He brews up that poor guy. Raketenwerfers are forced to back away, but it's a trip cap right now for the Germans. And although this Pershing is still on the field, and another Sherman's getting called in, those things are draining rather swiftly from the American side. 171 to 225. I was reading rather strange numbers there. A lot of the full vetted squads, or nearly full vetted squads, for the Americans, are now in the dead pile. And the unit preservation from Kpen in this match has been superb, I really have to say. Very much a lot different from a couple of other previous games that we have seen. And now with the Panther back in, he is going to engage that Pershing one more time here. They're just going to fire shots back and forth. ISG is getting some friendly fire in there. And the Pershing's now chasing after his counterpart. Not sure it's a great idea. Rear armor shots coming in. This, oh my gosh, these Volkskrans are going to get carved up though if they go in one by one. SDGs and Thompsons face off, and it's going to be a grenade trying to force away those Rangers. I don't know what's going to happen. These guys are firing like tanks at 20 paces right about now, shredding each other. Two models drop immediately for the Sturmpyos, and now a King Tiger has been called in. Okay, yeah, that Pershing is dead meat. That Sherman is dead meat. If this thing comes anywhere close to the front lines, all of that view, the American tanks are just dead, just pure and simple. There is a teeny tiny bit of a problem in that the Germans don't necessarily have the manpower to reinforce all their squads back up to full. But right now, they have the makings of a very, very savage battlefield composition. Exactly 100 manpower right now. 3 fully vetted up squads, although a couple of them are very, very shaky, to say the least. But that King Tiger is just an ungodly beast right about now. How much that 300, so not worth it. These very, very fierce Volkskrans are charging forwards. Here comes a Panzerfaust, and there comes a donated squad, it looks like. Yep, there's one squad donated, and here's a second squad donated. So after me just praising Kpen for his unit preservation, he drops 2 squads pretty quickly. But now that King Tiger comes in, and that is just a monster. He could 3-shot a Sherman pretty quickly. Panther comes in at the same time too. So I don't know who's going to... Looks like the Sherman's going to die first, I believe. Oh, never mind. He's going to make it away just barely at this moment. The M10 coming out, but I don't think that's going to be enough to really take on everything that's coming at him. Mortar shots coming in. Another, like I said, the M10's coming on, so there's still a fair amount of AT on the field for CadzZ. But if he drops any amount of this, he is in horrible, horrible shape. The Pershing has been thrown back. His infantry's been thrown back. He's got 1 squad of infantry still out in the field, kind of covering things. And that howitzer continues to fire shots and hammers down that mortar squad again. He's 1 more round in the area, and that thing's roasted and toasted. And there it comes. Yep, it evaporates. Takes out the shed in the meantime as well. Excuse me, not M10 Jacks, excuse me. I always get confused by the silhouettes on that one. An anticipatory grenade coming in, but not going to be quite enough. These Volkskrans are going to get shoved away by these Rangers. Probably the only thing keeping him in this game at this particular moment. Yikes. So 167 to 177. This game had been blown wide open in terms of for CadzZ, and now it's come back to quite even again. Not what you want to be as an American player. You want to go and get that early advantage and just ride that thing straight through to victory. And that's just not going to happen. Jackson comes in, is going to get the first shot over here on this Panther, going to hurt it pretty badly. Imperative anyway. And these rear echelons are also being rather, let's say, gutsy and shifting forward on an attempt to try to take out this Panther with rifles. Not sure why. And it gets dropped for his bravery. Rakettenwerfer moving forward. The other Rakettenwerfer moving forward. This King Tiger, all he needs is just 1 or 2 shots, and that thing's going to be dead. Alright, so this other Sturmpire squad over here, definitely kind of murdered right now. Manages to take back the middle VP. He does. He's now forced away pretty quickly. His Rakettenwerfers are now proving their weight in gold again. Taking on this Pershing, hammering it, and with CadzZ not getting a lot of quick micro to force them away to kind of save them, his vehicles are all in very, very bad shape. Rouston and ISG still coming in. A lot of the infantry squads that were there are now unfortunately dead. And what we are going to see instead is this Panther is going to charge forwards in an attempt to really kind of isolate and take out this Pershing. But with 3 enemy armored vehicles right there, it might not be the best idea. Nevertheless, Kpen says, hey guys, I am fierce, I am mean, and I am green. And he takes out one Sherman already. The Pershing is heavily wounded. And Jackson doesn't want to go anywhere near that King Tiger. So if he does, he's going to get one-shotted. That's just going to be brutal hits. Trip cap, though, for Kpen. And we're seeing these kind of desperate moves into the middle part of the map. Kpen has not decided to go for the LMG on top of the King Tiger. Could definitely be doing it right about now. But I guess it's enough. As long as he forces away these riflemen with pretty much anything he wants to. One shot comes in. Almost drops him on retreat. Not quite. These Rangers are coming right back in here, dude. There's lots of hurt coming out. Lots of pain coming out. For Kettenwerfers in the meantime, though, yes, the Jackson comes in to engage. But he's going to take some firepower from, oh my gosh, from the Kettenwerfer, and the King Tiger administers the coup de grace. And CadzZ has pretty much all but lost it at this point. Save a amazing engagement that somehow magically manages to turn it around. I think this is going to be a victory for Kpen. Yikes! Howitzer shot comes in again, takes out 3 guys, and that howitzer is finally really pulling its weight. 21 kills, not as good as the God howitzers we saw the other day, but nevertheless showing why artillery is still the king of the battlefield. Another Jackson's going to come onto the field, but I don't know at this point that's going to be enough. See the Panther moving up to the north, going to start picking on these riflemen if you can. Maybe go for a heavy crush or something like that. King Tiger in the meantime is going to see itself getting repaired. And the riflemen which had been so close to recapturing that point are forced away. Not sure what's happening in the meantime. We are seeing these rear echelons moving to the center part of the field armed with a BAR. There's enough firepower for them to actually start really holding the position for the time being. Not going to be great for the long term, though. Pershing, though, seeing off the Panther. A rather hefty hammering happening here. Lots of bazookas and high explosives being thrown at this particular Sturmpio group. But Sturmpio says, you know what, guys, this is worthless. Let's go for actually for the big boys. Misses his first shot, though, and, you know, if you are an American infantryman, if you're a German infantryman, and you're going up against that Pershing, you do not want to be anywhere close to that thing. It starts opening up on you. But right now, it looks like the Kettenwerfer might get donated. Oh, nope, never mind. Nope, he's donated. In an attempt just to keep that Pershing delayed. King Tiger's lining up on it, though, in the meantime. He is just going to really start walloping that guy again. And those poor rear echelons, those guys have been working hard all game to keep that freaking Pershing up. And every single time they repair the thing, like 30 seconds later, it gets picked off. Aishi, in the meantime, laying down rounds. Forcing back those riflemen. And yep, guys, I'm pretty sure that's all she wrote. Speed this game up a little bit more to get that last little bit in. If we see this Pershing or Jackson's moving into each other, that'll be a conflict I want to see. But right now, it's pretty much all she really kind of wrote. Jackson moves forwards, doesn't do a whole lot. These guys are firing up to the north.
We're down to 50.
Taking out somebody else. They're going to go for a trip cap again. And Jackson now finally gets himself into the field with that kind of muzzle-breaking cannon on it, but it's not going to be enough. Heavy crush is coming out, not doing a whole lot. Seeing a rifleman and rear echelons retreating in disarray. Even the Panther now just being up by itself, and this howitzer still lofting rounds back near the base. And there we go. He actually is engaging both a heavy tank and a tank destroyer at the same time. I think it's kind of a gutsy move from his angle. King Tiger shifting up, though, says, ha 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 ha. You pick up my little brother, I kick your butt. And that's what's going to happen up here. This guy is finally moving in. He says, it doesn't matter anymore if I live or die. I am destroying you for pride's sake. And then he says, you know what? Pride's overrated. He backs up. But not before taking one last shot. At that, oh wait, was that the howitzer? The howitzer took it out. So the howitzer hit, hit the M36. The Jackson gets taken out. And yep, CadzZ realizes it's all over. And a good amount of sportsmanship. Again, I'm always happy to see good sportsmanship in these particular games. It's very, very difficult to really watch salt being mined and a game that's supposed to be a lot of fun. Well done to both players. CadzZ, you definitely had it in the beginning of the match. I thought you had that thing going the entire time. But Kpen, well done to claw your way back into it. Very good job on both sides, really preserving their units until the absolute late game. If you guys like what you see here, please like, comment, and subscribe. I'd love to hear your feedback, and I will see you guys all soon. This is ConnellWorks signing off. Take it easy.